On April 15, 2013, at 2:49 p.m., spectators are watching runners approach the Boston Marathon finish line on Boylston Street. A backpack rests near the crowd. Then the first bomb explodes. Seconds later, another blast tears through the street. This is how one of the largest manhunts in modern American history unfolded. The bombs are homemade explosive devices. They have been concealed inside backpacks and placed near the ground. 3 people are killed. Hundreds are injured. Some survivors lose limbs. Others suffer burns, hearing damage, and wounds caused by metal fragments packed inside the devices. The finish line already has medical tents, police officers, volunteers, and emergency personnel in position. They were prepared for exhausted runners. They are now treating blast injuries. Tourniquets are applied. Barriers are pulled apart. Patients are carried toward ambulances. Every patient transported from the bombing scene reaches a hospital alive. But nobody knows whether another bomb is waiting. Police close Boylston Street. Bags abandoned during the evacuation become possible devices. Officers move spectators away from the area. Investigators begin treating the finish line as an enormous crime scene. Less than 40 minutes after the explosions, officials establish a unified command center inside the nearby Westin Hotel. Federal agents, Boston police, state authorities, firefighters, emergency managers, and medical officials begin working from the same location. They have 2 immediate questions. Who built the bombs? And where are they now? The evidence is everywhere. Store cameras face the pavement. Television crews filmed the race. Spectators recorded runners with their phones. News helicopters captured the streets from above. Investigators asked the public to submit anything recorded before, during, or after the explosions. The response produces more material than a normal investigation could process quickly. Investigators collect tens of thousands of photographs and videos. They interview more than 1,000 witnesses. Evidence teams examine the bombing sites block by block. Fragments of pressure cookers, wires, batteries, fabric, nails, and metal pieces are recovered from the street. Each fragment could identify the design. Each recording could identify the person carrying it. Analysts begin arranging footage by time and location. They watch the same sections repeatedly. A person enters one frame carrying a bag. The person leaves another frame without it. A camera angle ends. Another begins. They are looking for a repeated shape. A backpack. A person walking away. Something that changes between 2 frames. One recording shows 2 young men moving through the crowd together. One wears a black cap. The other wears a white cap backward. Additional footage places the man in the white cap close to the location of the second explosion. Before the blast, he appears to be carrying a backpack. Afterward, it is gone. Investigators still do not know their names. On April 18th, 3 days after the attack, the FBI releases photographs of the 2 men. They are identified only as Suspect 1 and Suspect 2. Officials say they appear to be connected. They warn that both should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. The images spread immediately. They appear on television screens, news websites, and phones across the country. Thousands of tips reach investigators. Some contain useful details. Many do not. Online groups begin conducting their own searches, comparing photographs, and accusing people who have no connection to the bombing. Investigators are now racing against 2 problems. They need to identify the suspects, and they need to do it before the suspects react. But the suspects do not wait. At approximately 10:28 p.m., MIT police officer Sean Collier is sitting inside his marked patrol vehicle on the Massachusetts Institute of Technology campus in Cambridge. He is shot and killed. Federal prosecutors later established that the two suspects attempted to take his service weapon. They cannot remove it from its locking holster. They leave without the gun. Around 20 minutes later, a Mercedes SUV is carjacked nearby. The driver is forced to remain inside as the two men move through Cambridge and Watertown. They take money from him. During the journey, the driver hears enough to believe the men may be connected to the Marathon bombing. For nearly an hour, he waits for an opening. Shortly after midnight, the Mercedes stops at a gas station on Memorial Drive. One suspect enters the store. The driver runs. At approximately 12:19 a.m., he escapes across the street and calls 911. He tells police about the carjacking. He also tells them what he heard inside the vehicle. The Mercedes has an anti-theft tracking system. Police contact the manufacturer and activate it. A moving signal appears in Watertown, several miles west of Boston. At 12:41 a.m., Cambridge police notify the Watertown Police Department. A Watertown officer locates the Mercedes near Dexter Avenue. A Honda sedan is following behind it. At first, the officer believes he is responding to a carjacking. He does not yet know he has found the Marathon bombing suspects. The vehicles turn onto Laurel Street. The officer follows without activating his emergency lights. He is told to wait for backup. Before police can conduct the stop, the first suspect exits the vehicle. He opens fire. The residential street becomes a battlefield. The second suspect joins him. Homemade explosive devices are thrown toward responding officers. Police from Watertown, Cambridge, Boston, the Massachusetts State Police, and the transit system converge on the neighborhood. More than 200 rounds are fired. Residents watch flashes through bedroom windows. Bullets strike parked vehicles and houses. Explosions echo between the buildings. One pressure cooker device detonates with enough force to damage the street. A transit police officer is critically wounded. He loses a large amount of blood. Doctors later resuscitate him and perform emergency surgery. The first suspect continues firing until his ammunition runs low. He throws away his gun and charges toward an officer. Police wrestle him to the pavement. The second suspect reaches the stolen Mercedes. He drives directly toward the officers. The vehicle strikes the first suspect and drags him along the street. The Mercedes breaks through the police line and disappears into the surrounding neighborhood. The injured man is transported to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. He is pronounced dead. Fingerprints identify him as 26-year-old Tamerlan Tsarnaev. That identification gives investigators the name of the second man. His younger brother, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, is 19 years old. The stolen Mercedes is found about half a mile from the firefight. It is empty. Dzhokhar has continued on foot. Police establish a perimeter, but they do not know exactly where he crossed it. They do not know which direction he took. They do not know whether he still possesses firearms or explosives. A neighborhood search begins before sunrise. Watertown residents receive instructions to remain indoors. Doors are locked. Windows are covered. Tactical teams move from property to property, searching yards, garages, sheds, vehicles, and basements. Public transport is suspended. At 5:45 a.m., the shelter-in-place request expands beyond Watertown. Residents in Boston, Cambridge, Newton, Waltham, and Belmont are also told to remain inside. The streets empty. Businesses close. Trains stop. Taxi service disappears. Universities cancel classes. Hospitals adjust staffing and deliveries. Thousands of officers arrive from Massachusetts, other New England states, and New York. Some have been formally requested. Others deploy themselves after hearing the news. The number of officers creates its own problem. Some personnel arrive without clear assignments. Others have limited information about the search area. Officers sometimes react to messages overheard on radios rather than waiting for instructions. Reports circulate between departments, news organizations, and social media accounts. Some are accurate. Others are not. The search now has more manpower than almost any local police operation could normally assemble. but the suspect remains missing. Hour after hour, tactical teams complete their assigned grids. Houses are cleared, vehicles are checked, backyards are searched. Helicopters circle above the town. No confirmed sighting appears. Officials begin considering another possibility. Joker may have escaped before the perimeter was secured. By late afternoon, the city has been largely frozen for hours. The search has disrupted transport, hospitals, businesses, and the movement of hundreds of thousands of people. At 6:03 p.m., the governor announces that the shelter-in-place request is being lifted. Transit service begins returning. Residents are told they can leave their homes, but they should remain cautious and report anything suspicious. 39 minutes later, a Watertown resident steps into his backyard. A winterized boat is parked behind his house at 67 Franklin Street. Something about it has changed. The covering appears disturbed. There is blood on the exterior. The resident looks underneath the cover. A person is lying inside. At 6:42 p.m., he calls 911. Police surround the property. Tactical officers and explosive ordnance teams are requested. Radio traffic draws more personnel toward Franklin Street. Within moments, over 100 officers gather around the house. Then someone fires. An officer has seen movement inside the boat and discharged a weapon without proper authorization. Other officers believe the shot came from the suspect. They begin firing. A senior officer orders an immediate ceasefire. The boat remains still. A Massachusetts State Police helicopter moves overhead. Its infrared camera detects heat inside the vessel. The image confirms that the person beneath the cover is alive. Negotiators attempt to communicate with him. Police use equipment to pull sections of the covering away. Armored vehicles move into position. Officers wait behind walls, vehicles, and trees. Nearly 2 hours pass. At 8:41 p.m., Joker Tsarnaev emerges from the boat. He is injured and unarmed when police take him into custody. He is transported under heavy guard to Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. The manhunt is over. The investigation is not. A federal jury later convicts Joker Tsarnaev on all 30 charges brought against him. Prosecutors present more than 1,000 exhibits and call over 100 witnesses. The evidence connects the brothers to the bombs on Boylston Street, the killing of Sean Collier, the carjacking, the gunfight in Watertown, and the attempt to escape. The public remembers the photographs released by the FBI, the empty streets, officers moving between houses, the infrared outline of a body inside the boat. But the final location leaves an uncomfortable detail. Police searched Watertown for almost an entire day. The shelter order was lifted at 6:03. The call arrived at 6:42. A boat behind a house on Franklin Street.